The main engine is about in 10 seconds. And now this engine is on, the thrust.
The telemetry data shows that the propelled descending is begin.
So it has decelerated.
Yes.
Well, the engine is on means that it has been decelerating for the descent onto the moon's surface.
Yes.
4号注意，3线测量，开始时间2小时，动3分，动秒。李海。
李海明白。
叶河。
叶河明白。
三亚。
三亚明白。
Now it is keeping communications with the tracking stations here on the ground. It is a major maneuver for the Chang'e 3 probe. There were several distinct stages during the landing procedure, as we just mentioned. Begin with the circular 100-kilometer orbit and then to the elliptical orbit, and now it decelerates into the landing approach. This would probably take 7 to 8 minutes to reduce the speed from 2 kilometers per second to several meters per second. So it is a slowly lowering itself towards the ground.
It will use most of its propellants during this procedure.
During this process, and actually the major weight on board is the propellant, which will be used up during this process. So the speed and attitude is controlled by the probe itself or by the ground?
It's controlled by the probe itself. It was pre-programmed already.
It's a pre-programmed
Yes.
course.
So when the probe detects it is 15 kilometers above the lunar surface, at this exact time, it will start deceleration. And then when deceleration occurs, it would not continue to circle around the moon. It will start to descend onto the lunar surface. And control of the speed is very important. Control of speed and attitude, because you have to have...
What are those major data that it rely on making decisions of adjusting its attitude and in speed?
There's a number of instruments on board. For example, one is the measurement above the lunar surface by its optical measuring and laser measuring facilities. The other is a onboard gyroscope, and the gyroscope can also, it's similar to a aircraft, can detect also your position when it's how it is supposed to move. So, and also there is a star sensors that can detect the sun and the major stars, and that can use to locate itself.
It uses the gyroscope to measure its attitude, and is also with accelerometers to measure its acceleration and deceleration. The accelerometer is also, the technology is also derived from the technology of Shenzhou spaceship, but with about 20% higher accuracy. And also it has more redundancy measures during this mission, because it will work longer than Shenzhou spaceship and will be exposed to the high radiation of the circumlunar orbit.
The fact that it is all pre-programmed is because we know what is going to happen. What could be the factors that change the pre-programmed mode into a...
Well, the biggest risk might be the onboard mechanical errors. For example, because
of the descent?
Well, because of many factors of the space environment, maybe the descent, or maybe even a human error that can cause one or two of these controlling elements misfunction. So if that happens, then it will be an emergency situation. But so far we have done vigorous tests, and fingers crossed all the altitude control system functions well when it's descent. So descending is critical, especially after these probe enter to 100 meters above the lunar surface.
So there isn't an atmosphere on the moon. Is this a good thing for the landing or a bad thing?
Well, because there's no atmosphere on the surface, we have to use different approaches. One, as you had mentioned, there's a balloon possibility, and there's also a controlled descending for soft landing. There's no atmosphere. I think it's good to land because the atmosphere on the surface of the Earth will burn up anything that try to enter the Earth's surface.
But it also provides the drag to reduce the speed, which in this case there isn't.
There's no drag. Yes, there's no drag from. Of course, there's very thin air.
Very thin atmosphere.
On the atmosphere on the moon, but that is no effect on the landing.
We know there is a camera mounted on the lander. It will capture images of the lunar surface.
Yes, of course.
It will capture the whole descending process.
Will that be a reference for the lunar probe to decide what to do during the landing?
No, that camera is only for.
Or is it just for
passive.
reference?
Yeah, it's only for passive purpose. It's
okay.
For us to see how it works.
There are some devices on board the lander, for instance, the microwave and laser ranging devices, and also they can measure the altitude and the velocity of the vehicle. This will be the input of the control system to judge its thrust and the attitude.
On board the probe.
Yes, that is why we choose.
Which is into the computer of the probe to decide.
Yes, of course.
Its own course.
The control loop of the vehicle, the period will be very small. That is why we choose automated mode rather than a manual or remote control mode.
So if it is a manned mission, it will be quite different. All those things will be controlled by an astronaut rather than a computer or a robot.
Yeah, it's similar to driving a car, for example. You can drive a car by yourself. You can also have autonomous driving system, but it depends on how much you want to trust it.
Well, it is about to enter the deceleration, which is a sharp drop of altitude from 15 kilometers. We can see it is a parabola curve that basically is how it looks like when you throw a thing.
It's basically slowed down to such a speed that is free falling into the lunar surface, but of course it's not a free fall, it's a controlled fall.
It's controlled fall, because there are thrust on board to control its speed. Well, the speed is now 20 seconds. It will travel 600 meters.
We can see the attitude control thrusters are working. All these animation.
So the attitude control engine are now working, kicking because it controls the speed of landing. Well, this is the camera on the lander.
On the descending camera.
This is the first picture of the moon taken by Chang'e 3. Well, it seems pretty close already. We can see the lunar surface very clearly.
Yes, it is only few kilometers above the lunar surface.
And because there is no atmosphere, so it's a very clear image.
And it is daytime.
And it's also daytime. The lighting is perfect for picture taking. This is a picture taken by Chang'e 3 of the lunar surface. I suppose is already above the Bay of Rainbow.
Yes. It is in the morning of the Rainbow Bay.
The picture was sent back pixel by pixel because it's a slow sending back. But there's an onboard recording system that will record the whole
process,
and then send back to Earth later. So we will have a real-time
So
image.
this is not a real-time video, but frame-by-frame picture.
It's a frame-by-frame sending back by the probe, because there is a
Now
data.
it has already decided on its landing site, and it will be in its hovering stage, which means it will hover 100 meters above the lunar surface. And it seems Chang'e has already decided on its location of landing.
This procedure is similar to that of the Apollo 11 mission. Mr. Neil Armstrong chose a landing site different from the designed one, because the designed one is not flat enough. But this time we choose the landing site by the probe itself. So we need a more...
So we don't have a landing site chosen beforehand. We don't have.
We have designed the landing site, but maybe it is not perfect enough.
Because
so
we don't know what the lunar
yes,
surface
of
is
course.
like exactly. We are above the lunar surface, 100 meters. That's very close. That's 100 meters. That's the distance Chang'e is going to travel until it landed on the moon. And it is descending from 100 meters to 30 meters above the lunar surface. And you are seeing the live feed from Chang'e probe. This is the pictures taken on the camera of Chang'e 3 of the lunar surface. These are the last 30 minutes for the journey of Chang'e 3 until it landed on the moon. While it is hovering again, it landed on the moon. Chang'e 3 is on the moon. The first Chinese lunar probe is on the surface of our celestial neighbor, the moon.
Chang'e has landed.
looking very stable.
But it seems Chang'e is in good shape. Everything is perfect until now. This is the first Chinese vehicle to land on a celestial body.
This is still the landing camera that is working on board the probe, but you could see a shadow of this probe you can see the surface has been shuttled by itself.
We haven't seen a lot of dust that is being agitated.
That's because we shut down the main engine on 4 meters altitude before
Well, obviously, the scientists and engineers have congratulated on the success of the landing of lunar probe. These are the people who are behind the mission this time of Chang'e 3. They put their time and energy into this mission, and they have been working years to make this happen. And now it is a reality. Well, this is a simulation of the unfolding of solar panel.
But this simulation derived from the real data of the telemetry date.
So it is based on the real-time data.
Yes.
It's not a random simulation.
Yes.
It is based on the data received from the probe.
So it can represent the
So
real status
actually,
of the
it is what is happening on
Yes.
the probe. The solar panel is unfolding. That means we will have power on the lunar probe very soon.
And the mechanism of the solar panels is specially designed to avoid the influence of the dust of the moon, so it can work properly.
But can we tell how much dust have been spread around by this landing?
Because we use a different landing procedure method, rather comparing with the Apollo program, we can see that from the descending camera there is little dust raised to.
Yeah, surprisingly, we didn't see a lot of dust.
Yes.
We didn't see dust, and also we also bear that in mind when we design this spacecraft, that the dust is avoided, and then all the systems are functioning. Even with dust, we could still function some of the components. But to avoid dust, we have adopted the free fall of this spacecraft because the weight is radically reduced, and then the gravity of the moon is smaller than the Earth. So it's a safe landing. And we're happy to see that.
We know on board there is a solar panel, and there's also antenna for communication. So is this landing perfect for communication and energy and production?
Yes, of course. The solar panels, we use the triple junction gallium arsenide solar cells. This has the highest efficiency in the solar cells products of China. So this will ensure the abundant energy needed for the vehicle itself.
Can we say that the lifespan of the solar panel will decide the lifespan of the probe itself?
The probe is designed for a 1-year lifespan.
That's because the solar panel will run out.
No. Because every subsystem has a design margin for its lifespan. Maybe it can work longer, like the robots of other countries.
Some spacecraft, like satellites, even designed for 4 or 5 years, experience more than 17 years of lifespan.
So
it depends very much on the components, not the solar panel itself. Solar panels normally functions very well for a long time.
Well, from the command center, it says the solar panel has been successfully deployed. Now power is on. The lighting is perfect for picture taking. This is a picture taken by Chang'e 3 of the lunar surface. I suppose is already above the Bay of Rainbow.
Yes. It is in the morning of the Rainbow Bay.
The picture was sent back pixel by pixel because it's a slow sending back. But there is an onboard recording system that will record the whole process, and then send back to Earth later. So we will have a real-time.
So this is not a real-time video, but frame-by-frame picture.
It's a frame-by-frame sending back by the probe because there is a.
Now it has already decided on its landing side, and it will be in its hovering stage, which means it will hover 100 meters above the lunar surface. And it seems Chang'e has already decided on its location of landing.
This procedure is similar to that of the Apollo 11 mission. Mr. Neil Armstrong chose the landing site different from the designed one because the designed one is not flat enough. But this time we choose the landing site by the probe itself. So we need a more.
We don't have a landing site chosen beforehand. We don't have.
We have designed the landing site, but maybe it is not perfect enough.
Because we don't know what the lunar surface is like exactly. Well, we are above the lunar surface, 100 meters. That's very close. That's 100 meters. That's the distance Chang'e is going to travel until it landed on the moon. And it is descending from 100 meters to 30 meters above the lunar surface. And you are seeing the live feed from Chang'e probe. This is the pictures taken on the camera of Chang'e 3 of the lunar surface. These are the last 30 minutes for the journey of Chang'e 3 until it landed on the moon.
7500牛发动机关机 TNC 转无控模式。
Well, it is hovering again. It landed on the moon. Chang'e 3 is on the moon. The first Chinese lunar probe is on the surface of our celestial neighbor, the moon.
Chang'e has landed.
Looking very stable.
It seems Chang'e is in good shape. Everything is perfect until now. This is the first Chinese vehicle to land on a celestial body.
This is still the landing camera that is working on board the probe, but you can see a shadow of this probe. You can see the surface.